out in the water, come jump right in, 'cause we going farther than we ever been. I'm out in the water, come jump right in, we going farther than we ever been.
Boom, welcome back. Ocean Waves, episode 57. Thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. And I decided to do this one after it's Wednesday now. It's going to be Thursday tomorrow when I drop this. And crazy week this week. It's funny, last time on the last episode I said I was going to put it out. I didn't want to put it out on Fridays. And I literally did it, edited it, uploaded it, but I didn't send it. I forgot to hit send, or I had something to do, and then I meant for Jason to text Jason to send it because I had to leave when it was done uploading, and I forgot. So I literally forgot to do it, I did everything to get it ready for Thursday, and I forgot to do it, or forgot to just send it. Forgot the last step, which is geek. So then it came out on Friday anyway. So I honestly didn't look if anyone watched it. Let me check now, actually. Let's do that. Sorry for the dead silence, if there's any dead silence. Right now, the Pokey Pulls chat we got going on is going through my laptop, so I've been seeing some chats. For those of you who don't know what that is, Pokemon TCG, the card game, they dropped like a Pocket app, like it's called Pokemon TCG Pocket, but it's an app that is basically the Pokemon trading card game on an app version where you get to get packs and pull cards and battle. So pretty much what the actual Pokemon collection has been all along, but on the app, it is really fun. My collection is going at a slow start, I will say. Not for lack of training or grinding in it, but just what I pulled. Just been unlucky in certain occasions. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying not to leave too much dead audio here, but I'm going to YouTube now to see. Okay, 11 views, not bad. 11 views, not bad. Let's see. 123 subscribers. That's lit. 1, 2, 3. So shout out to all of you. Appreciate you. 2 thumbs up. And we got a comment from the Symphonic Squirrel 4 days ago. Appreciate you. He said, "Welcome back, man. Yes, life gets busy. Things take over and get in the way of us doing certain things that we wish to do. Not only that, if things are crazy, you will not produce the best content. This is why it is useful to take a break for sometimes. Breaks can also give you perspective. Chill, listen to some inspiring music, and enjoy the moment." We appreciate that very much. Very true. I definitely think that the little break was a benefit overall for me. I think that that definitely is very true, that things can get in the way, and a lot of times for most of us, that's exactly what happens every day. You get consumed with, if you have to go to work, school, or your family, or responsibilities, things like that, where especially if you're working like a 9 to 5, because 40 hours a week plus commute, and that time you're at work and energy spent, then you got to come home, and then all the other stuff you have to do, and then how much time you have left in the day before you know, if you go to sleep too late, your next day is going to be less productive because you'll be tired, and then it's a chain effect until you get that day off or whatever, you can just sleep and regain your energy. But what happened, like, for just, I guess, like, if we're going to say like an average family would be like, parents go to work or dad goes to work 40 hours a week or more, comes back, You know, he works all day, then kids got to go to practice. We got to have dinner, blah, 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 doo-doo. Next thing you know, it's like 8:39. You only have so much time if you got to get up at 6. You know, it's like same thing for kids in school. You know, there's only so much time to do for stuff. You have 24 hours a day, so you have a lot of time, but you have to sleep some, right? And then we get to this point where once you dug deep enough, like once you dug deep enough into this job, into the family life, you can't stop going to work, because if you stop going to work, you don't have money, and if you don't have money, you can't get food or place your house and blah blah blah. And when you're young, and then you're like, okay, that's fine, but then you look to your right and you're like, oh wait, that's not fine, because I have kids and they have to, and I need to make sure they're fed and make sure they have this and that. And it's like, so now because I can't not go to work. Okay, I have to go to work. So in these moments, you get deeper and deeper in this. Not that it's like having a family is a trap or anything like that, but in this loop where it's harder for you to get out of it. And then depending on how much time, if it's a time-consuming thing, then maybe you're left with, let's just say, like 30 minutes a day to do what you want. But then you might be tired, so then 15 minutes of it you spent just scrolling on your phone instead of doing it. You know what I mean? Things like now those minutes are gone. Different things where it's like the things that you might want to do, or the things you know you want to do, but you know it's going to take work. Like the gym, like everyone wants, I feel like I'm not going to classify everyone as everyone, because that's unfair to do, but most people, I feel like, would love to be like, and I'm going to speak for myself, would love to be like fit, you know, healthy, you know, athletic. Like I'm still athletic and I can still do things, but I can see that I'm at that point now where it's like I have to start locking in the sense of preserving the youth of my body, in the sense of like, just like when they say when you're a kid, like when you're like a baby, like we have the little baby around, he's like, he can like touch his toes and he can put his feet in his mouth and things like that. And I know there's people who are in their adult life now that are flexible, obviously, you know, but if you don't maintain, like if you don't stretch when you're younger and you don't build that flexibility, you can get it now. Like I remember in college, I was doing yoga I had a yoga class, which was super lit. Like, obviously easy A, but for one, so GPA booster. The other thing was that it's not like there's stuff like the thing about the yoga class that was dope was that she designed it so that when you leave the class at the end of the semester, the goal isn't for you to keep coming back to like. I mean, she obviously she obviously does like the extracurricular, like just like the yoga club thing too, for people who just want to do it. And I'm sure she loves, obviously you don't want to do it for nobody, so you want people to be there and be in there. But I saw and I did it. I went through the class, so, you know, paid attention in certain ways. So by the end of the thing is she wanted you to basically create your own routine. So she would go through all these different ones, but I think what her goal is for you to find like the routine that works for you, so that you don't need to go to a class or whatever. Like you could just go, like wake up and like do your 15, 30, 45, 60 minute, depending on how much time you have, right, session. And I remember that I was like I always like in like high school, like people like, oh, touch your, like, you know, you do like back in like middle school. Oh shit, I almost knocked over this water. I'm gonna put it over here. Speaking of water, over there, there's like that cushion, and there's a blanket that they're like super wet, and the back of the couch is wet. So somebody spilled some water or something and didn't say anything, and definitely still wet. So I had to get to the bottom of that. Definitely gave me like a little push. Like I definitely want to get like a studio, like actually have a studio for this. I think if I, in certain ways, if I had, like a nice car, not like a super nice car, but like right now my car is like on the brink, like not on the brink of like cutting out, but it's like limping there. You know what I mean? It's not smooth sailing. But if you have a car that's smooth sailing, like you want to drive it, like, oh, I spent money on it, this and that. Oh, I like, you know what I mean? It feels nice, so you want to get in, you want to drive. Like you have two people, you and your friend's car. I'm sure in each scenario, there's like a scenario like, oh, I'd rather drive in that car, whether it's nice or whatever. Like, oh, when you get a rental car, it's always nice. Oh, I got this nice, like a newer car, nice, smooth. So you can't not use it. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a PlayStation 4 that's slow or like not as to speed versus PS5, you might be more inclined. You know what I mean? You're gonna use like, oh, I'm gonna use it. So I was like, if I had this studio, I feel like there's no way I wouldn't use it. One, and two, it'd just be like, I think overall, it'll feel more professional, I guess, on the other side. But everyone starts somewhere, and even this podcast started somewhere in the house, right? And it's moved locations. I guess 3 different locations, but different angles and different way. And then now to here, and it's nice. Like if we have a bunch of people, or like 4 or 5, 6, like we can puzzle piece it, right? Where it can comfortably fit a good amount of people with a decent camera angle and everything like that. So I don't take this setup for granted, and I appreciate what I have, and but I definitely do feel like I was just like thinking like, oh, it's gonna be super nice when we have the studio. We can decorate it with the different things that we want, and nice chairs and shit like that. I think it'll be viewed as more professional, right? So maybe I'll look into like renting a little space. Maybe I will. I'll look what it costs to like, what does it cost to like rent a little studio or like to have a little studio somewhere. Maybe it'll be worth it. I don't know. We'll see. But for now, this is what we're working with. But in school, they had those, what I was saying before I almost kicked over my water. You had the test. You had to do like the pacer test. We had to run back and forth. The mile, obviously. And the worst part of the mile is that there was always the kids who didn't care about gym, and they would just like walk the shit, like go slow. So then by the time they're done, like there's only so much left of gym class. So you like the mile was gym class versus like being able to do something like fun, which I always was very disappointed. Let's just say that. You got the mile. We did the pacer test. We did what's some other shit? But then when I was saying they had like the box, right? And you put your feet like that in the box, and then it had like the measurement ruler paper, or like laminate it or whatever, or just ingrained in the wood, and then you had to like reach out and wherever you could reach. And my score is always so bad, dude, so bad, and I'm sure that people told me to stretch. Maybe not as like when I have my kids, whenever the universal lines, if that happens, hopefully it does, right? I'm going to make sure that, or tell him a lot, that you should keep stretching, because later on in life you're going to thank me for it, right? But because I didn't, so I'm sure I could have gotten more flexible when I was in high school, whatever, but I'm not really the most flexible guy, right? But then I was doing yoga in college. Sorry, I'm like bouncing thoughts, but I remember in college I did yoga, and now like I saw at the end how much like I was actually progressing, how much I was like whatever. But then uh we did then, I didn't keep up with it at all. So unfortunately, the message got through to me, but I just didn't care. At the time I didn't care enough. So now, thinking about it, I definitely want to be able to play sports with my kids and walk and, jog or, play little hoops, play some wiffle ball or whatever. And I know that if I stay not sedated, what's the word? Stagnant? No, I mean, yeah, but like if I just stay on the couch, right? Or in the chair, whatever, you eventually the scales tip, and it might be already on the verge. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with like, I guess everyone's different though. But you see like an athlete out here. I'm watching a little basketball. Some of these guys are 30, and they can jump and dunk and whatever, but obviously they're training and they've been training and whatever. So I'm not saying I'm gonna go dunk and this and that, but if you keep up with it before you're on the other side of it, and now you're just building to be able to walk or to be able whatever, it's like, you know, there's always some time, and obviously when there comes to a point where you're just too old and the amount of time to recover is too long versus whatever, but there's that sweet spot where when you're young and you're like your body can just handle whatever because you're young and you're growing and blah blah blah, and then there's that like athletic prime, right, where you're like 24 to 28, 30, where you're like, or 20, I mean, like 20 to 28, like that middle ground, and then now you get to the old, and you got to take care of your body and whatever. So I'm 28 now. I still think I'm in the zone where it's not too late, right? But, I think deep down everyone does want to be fit in some way and whatever, but we know that it takes time, it takes energy, it takes dedication, it takes routine, So obviously that's something that you want, but but also knowing the work to do it and how much it takes. Also just people like the day just goes away, like here that I'll do this, I'll do a little later, I'll do a little later, I'll do a little later, and then next thing you know, you just don't do it at all. And that's the thing with every like things that you might want to do, like making a song. Like making a song isn't like, I'm sure for some people it's easy. They would say it's easy, but it's not like a 10-minute process. Now there's some cases where people are working together, so you got someone already maybe have made the beat, and then you have a good art, like a great artist who thinks of stuff on the fly. They just go in there, lay their stuff, and then so for the artist, they're like, oh, I made a song in 10 minutes or 15, 20 minutes. But then in reality, it's like they did like the lyrics, and then they did the lyrics in like 20 or 25 minutes, but the beat took however long to make, the editing took however long to edit, the production, blah, 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 the getting it ready, mixing, all this stuff takes more than just 15 minutes or whatever. So, for instance, for making music, it's like, if I'm going to go into the studio and the goal is to make a song, then that's a tall task in certain ways, because I know that I'm going to have to make the beat first, then I'm going to have to think of the lyrics, then I'm going to have to make sure, then I have to deliver the lyrics, and then wrap this song up to get at least a scratch so that I can go and just go listen to it 300 times, right? But that process is a big process. This process of doing the podcast is, setting up, cleaning the area, I guess not cleaning the area, setting up, recording, actually doing it, packing down, up or editing, like getting the footage to the computer, editing, bouncing, uploading, sending. It's also a long. So knowing, and it's not like, oh, let me just stop this and let me go do something else. You know what I mean? And then I'll come back to it. It's like this is what it is. Like, if you're gonna go to a baseball game, like, if you go to a baseball game, your dad's like, we're not leaving till the end. You know what you're in for if you go. Like, it's gonna be, you're gonna go there. This is boom, boom, and you do. You either decide you do it or you don't do it. So these tasks, whether it's things you want to do, things you want to do, blah blah blah, the other things in life might make it easier for you to not do those things, or for you to say like, oh, I can, let me do something, oh, I'll do it later or whatever. But sometimes there's not always too many laters. Obviously there's always later while you're still here, but it'll be like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, but then tomorrow comes and then something else gets in the way, and then now the opportunity might be gone, things like that. So I definitely, to sum up these little streams of thoughts, because I know these streams of thoughts are going to be, which is okay, to kind of sum it up from where I kind of felt inspired by that comment to now, is that I definitely do believe that it's good for people to step away from things that they're doing. Just kind of remove yourself from certain situations and just take like a time to reflect and and then see it from maybe a bird's eye view, and then come back to it, give yourself, and then also to make sure that you do the things that you want to do or supposed to do, you're here to do, things that align with your purpose, things that make you feel good, things that you enjoy doing. Because if you don't, no matter what's going on in life, you're always going to have something deep down inside that's, haunting you in some way. And that's, I think, where that comment is a great comment too, because there's definitely a pressure that I put on myself as far as making sure knowing that this space is bigger than myself, and knowing that I'm not the only one in this space anymore. And because of that, I have to be aware of how I'm treating this space, and also making sure that I'm staying, I'm still I still come back to this space. I have to make sure I do that, because 5 weeks goes by pretty fast, honestly. I was like, all right, I'm 5 podcasts behind or whatever, and I'm like, damn, that's 5 weeks. So that is a long time in between. But that break, that hiatus, I got the energy back for it. I'm aligned with pushing back to getting to act. Like, I don't think really all year, because this is the beginning. Yeah, the beginning of the year is when I did the catch up, and then I was on Wednesdays for a while. But I want to get back to that Wednesday at noon, right? That's the goal. It's gonna take some time. I'm not gonna force it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna do the every one a day gauntlet right now. But that is a goal of mine. But to remove the pressure of like me like trying to do it, like get back like so fast, like no, like I'm behind in some way, but I'm gonna get back as long as I'm taking 2 steps in some way each week or every other, as long as I'm before the 2-year period, 2-year anniversary, and hopefully by the end of this year, because I still have 7 weeks left of the year, right? So technically, if I do 2 of them a week out of the last 7 weeks, I have 2 weeks to not do 2, right? And I'm back. But that pressure, removing that, is also for me, because there's going to be a time where, I do really feel like there's gonna be a time where there's gonna be more than 123 subscribers. There's gonna be more than 10 views. Well, I chalked it up to Friday, but that's fine. And me gone for a month and a half. Can't be mad, you know. But there's gonna be a time where this grows, and there's gonna be more pressure at that time. So for me now, it's like I'm trying to keep myself at the standard I want to be at. I want to be a good influence, you know. I want to use my days to the best of my ability, not waste time, don't scroll on the phone. You know what I mean? Continue growing with the music and getting better, you know. Continue putting these out and just growing and yeah. And I definitely can see, like, in some ways, like, this past, like, month or whatever was like a vacation for me. And I didn't go anywhere. It was just, I had been doing, you know, it's like if like a player who's in college or, you know, maybe in the G League, and they're waiting to come up to the league, they're waiting to come up to the NBA, and they're not there yet. Whether they should be or not is not the debate, but the reality is that they aren't there yet. They're where they're at, and they're where they're supposed to be in the moment, right? But there's going to be the people who are going to be in the G League and carry themselves like they're in the G League, and there's people who are in the G League and they're going to carry themselves like they're going to prepare like they are in the NBA, and they're always going to be on that feeling like if you were already there, knowing you're already there, knowing you're going to get there, how, like, and when you do, and why the time, and then once you do get there, you are who you are. There's no change. There's no flipping like, oh, he changed because of this, and it's like you are already setting yourself to the standard that you want to be at, and then by the time that you do get there, the buckets will go in. You'll make the right passes. You'll play good defense. You can become a starter, you know. But the mentality is that I'm gonna get there, and it doesn't matter if I'm there yet or not. This is how I'm gonna be. This is how I'm gonna represent myself. This is how I'm gonna whatever. So for the last years, I've been doing that as if I am like I walk in public as if I'm already famous, right? And in certain ways, I guess people would be like, that's so whatever word you want to put there. But in reality, it's like that's how I move, so that by the time it happens, I don't need to be like, I don't want to be like famous, right? But just I want to be able to live off my art, right? And that's the goal, to be able not have to go to like a workplace, but able to spend the hours I spend there on the things I want to be doing, and hopefully that allows me to make a living, you know? Whatever level that is, that's where I want to get to, right? Now, as far as spreading the message of following your dreams, finding your purpose, seeing between the lines, you know, being in tune with yourself, you know, those things, and getting the world to a peaceful, harmonious place that people can consider heaven on earth, right? Obviously, I would love to reach everyone with that, but you know, there's levels to the things. But the point is that I move for as long as I can in a certain way. I've moved accordingly as if people already know who I am, you know? And that's why I say I kind of took a vacation for like the past month. Like I didn't really go, like I went to studio a few times. Like I made things got made in certain ways and ideas and stuff like that. But mostly I was just kind of like chilling. The past couple months, I'm up on betting on sports players, and that's not really like, I don't consider it as like the livelihood, like, oh, that's gonna get me out. get me out the neighborhood type vibes. Like, that's not how I feel about it. But if I can get close to rent a month, or if I, what I mean, certain ways. So I spent some time doing that. So, and I've come to the conclusion, like, I need to figure out I realize it's just learning things that have your own rules when it comes to the thing. Like, I have my rules, and every time I break my rules, I lose. But every time I lose, I remind myself of why I have the rules, right? So I just have to follow my rules, and eventually, often not turns out, make a little here and there. But the balance is how much time I'm spending on that. So now I'm in this mode where I did this certain way, and it took a long time, and it had positives and negatives. So I think it depends on the day, depends on how I'm feeling, But I don't want to spend the rest of the year, and it gets to the New Year's, and it's like, what'd you do the past 3 months? Like, oh, I bet on sports. And no matter how much money I won or lose, but win, because I've been winning, and they've also stunted my They stunted the amount I can bet on the promo stuff. So they'll give you discounted players. So Lamar Jackson needs, 200 pass yards, but now it's dropped to 160. He only needs 150. 2 weeks ago I was able to put 30 on one of those discounted squares, and now I can only put 10. So obviously they're mad. They're trying to stunt the way I do it. It was fine. You know what I mean? So that's why I know, in some ways I'm like, oh, I'm actually doing good. Because if I wasn't, they would be giving me the promos. They want me to bet more. But they don't really want me to bet that much. Honestly. In certain ways. And I'm not getting thousands and thousands and thousands. But I'm getting a decent amount. And I can see the progression. And I can see that it's not guaranteed. People can always get hurt. They can always throw a flag. They can always, have a bad game that day, whatever it is, So I think for me, it's about sticking to my rules, and hopefully if I can make a couple $100 a month from it, awesome. And rent is cheaper, right? But how much, say I'm only making $250 a month, right? Say I'm making that, which is good, right? Because a lot of people will lose, or I'll be honest, I went down over 19 months, I went down 1,300, but I had won and lost all in between, playing with $5,000. So I would win, I would lose, I would win, I would lose, and in total amounts, I played with 5 G's, right? And that was up until August, and then from September, October to now, I'm up $2,000. I'm up $2,000, over $2,000, which means I took out the 1,300 I put in. So now I'm playing with literally just the money I've won off the app, right? So that's the goal, is to never put any more money back in, and so I'll never make bets that will put me in that position. I'm just in the mode trying to just build whatever, and especially now that they stunted me with the whatever, it's showing me that it's not a foolproof plan. I can't live off it. And so back to my point, if I'm only making $200 a month, right? How much time is that worth for me to spend? How much time is $200 worth for me? And whatever answer that is, that's how much time I want to make sure I'm spending on it. And I want to and I don't want to be going over and whatever. So that's been my past month, and I'm open to saying it. That's fine. And I feel that I'm shifting into the next phase of my life, right? And in that shift is going to be, back in the studio, working on videos, writing jokes down, all these things I've been kind of talking about the past month before that, So for me, it's honestly been a crazy year for me. I went on this journey really with the podcast, and I caught up, and the Ocean Waves has gone through its shifts, and I've propelled it to where it is now. I did the album. I went through stuff, you know, stuff that helped me grow, and you know, just different emotions and feelings that I hadn't really felt in before, and feelings I had suppressed and came back to light. And I still have some that I can tell that are still down there that I'm not sure if they'll ever get resolved or whatnot, but I've learned from them, you know. But for me, it's been and that was the beginning. And then we had the wedding, which was a huge thing for all of us because I was involved. Obviously, I was the best man. We had it at the house, and I live here, and you know, it's my brother, and gonna make I made myself a part of whatever I could help and whatever I could do. You know, so I did. So that was that was like July, right? And even before that, June. And then, let's see what happened in August. What happened in August? I'll have to go back and watch the pods. Yeah, I think. Oh, yeah. It was just another shift of emotion. It was just, a whole bunch of stuff. Along the way, I've made music in different ways, but I haven't had a new song to really listen to in a while of mine. And that's always a super big motivation to getting one done so I can listen to it and feel great about it, you know, and whatever. So I'm definitely getting to that phase now, but I think the comment led me down this journey to start this pod, and I think it's a beautiful balance of it. There's a balance between, you know, making time for the things that you want to do, aligning yourself with the things that you are here to do, you know, participating in making time for the stuff that you enjoy, you know, and then also removing certain pressures on yourself, you know, and that's where I've been kind of at. And now I'm gonna get back to it in a certain way and just try to make great music, and hopefully some songs that make me feel really good, and hopefully when they come out, it'll make others feel really good, and we can kind of build some momentum here on this Oceans on Arrival wave, you know. But I'm very much aware and aligned with everything happens for a reason. I'm where I'm supposed to be, you know. And overall, I don't even if the year ended today, I wouldn't look back on the year and be like, I wasted my time, or I didn't do. I'm not satisfied with what I've done. I would be, you know, but I know that because the year's not over, there's still a little bit of time, and I can either get to the end of the year and be like, damn, like what did I do for the rest of the first half of the year is great. What did I do for the second half? I can get to the point where it's like solid year, finish strong, feeling good, leading to the next year, or maybe we can squeeze some things out where it's like this was a great year overall for my growth. The situation that we're in, situation that we're getting into, where we're moving towards, you know. I just feel like overall things will work out exactly how they're supposed to, and I'm not worried. And I also am aware that if I don't do anything, things aren't just gonna magically happen. Like, you have to put in work, time, energy. You need preparation, and also you need to look in the mirror and make sure that you are, you know, backing up what you say, following through with the things that you start, you know, and being honest, being honest with yourself, and not like looking at yourself and saying like, anything negative, but not being like removing that of like, oh, why not me, or when's this happening, or why am I not here yet, or blah blah blah, but more or less like, this is where you're at. Acknowledge this is where you at. Once I'm honest with that, then I can be like, what do I need to focus on? What do I need to grow on? What am I pleased with? And keep growing as a human being. And then hopefully, and then with that, my interactions with others, trying to make sure that I have great interactions with other people and, build them up, and for people to enjoy my presence versus not. But it's not up for me in different cases. Everyone has their opinion. Everyone's going to think what they want to think, say what they want to say when you're not around. That's going to happen. But the only thing I can do is really just be me and keep pushing the idea, the message. Because a lot of people are lost. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they're here to do. They follow whatever the script is saying and live very third-dimensional lives. And in some ways, it's very disheartening, and it's tough. If you look at the world is depressing. And if you look too long, you become depressed too, right? Versus how do you, at least tending to your garden so that when you're at home and you're in your space, you're at peace. And if you have to go into the war and you have to whatever, but at least when you come home, you can have a peaceful place and peaceful spot to exist in and to grow and to nurture and, live, right? But I think that brings me to this part. Kind of need to pee, so I'm not sure how long I've been going for, but probably won't keep this too long. But I will, let me just go on this trend. So, the election happened yesterday, and it looks like the new president of the United States will be Trump. So, definitely pretty crazy, honestly. Like one day, I'm already reminded of stuff from 5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. But we're in a tough place right now, honestly. No matter who would have won, we're in a tough spot. But for me, I think what did Jason say? Yeah, I think for me it's like, how do I not get dragged down or allow myself to be sucked into getting angry about politics and stuff, because my true belief is that the system is fraudulent and we don't actually really get a say, right? But everyone has a right to their opinion, and I respect other people's opinions. So let's just say that I'm wrong. I don't really think that I'm wrong. Obviously, not a lot of people think that they're wrong. But let's just pretend that everything, there's no fuckery. It's all good. And you have your vote, you cast it in, boom, it goes to that pot or whatever. They count it fairly and everything you're accounted for, boom, right? It is weird that you can't see until the last night and they just start filling in red and blue stuff. They don't, but whatever. I'll just say that it is, right? And you have a fair choice in whatever, Okay, you have your opinion. You have the tough. See now, it's already a tricky situation because I can see. Look, because I'll just say, because earlier we had a conversation at dinners for between 5 people, and 4 people got to that energy where it's like that irritated energy, that like anger, whatever that energy is that surrounds this politics shit, right? Where what did Jason say? They just politics are just it's just set up for people to so that you argue or whatever, right? So there's 2 people who wanted Kamala to win, one person who wanted Trump to win, and 2 people who didn't vote, right? One person who didn't vote stayed neutral and didn't get whatever. 2 people who voted for Kamala got frustrated, and the person who voted for Trump is like in the like they're the winner, right? So they're happy, like, oh, like we won, so it doesn't matter whatever we won, blah blah blah. And then one non-voter who kind of got who got pulled into the Trump side, right? And this is a tough part because either way, there's no really good side. There's no like person you like that person generally like cares about you, and that person represents you for real, right? Both options in some ways honestly weren't great, you know what I mean? So but what happens now is that you're going to get the people who, oh man, I don't want to say, I feel like I was prepared to say some shit, but I feel like I'm not. Because, let me just say this from my personal perspective. I don't want to allow myself to jump into that energy that's that argumental and like you get worked up about it in some ways. So, but what does work me up about it is that it's sad because, okay, let's just say on the Trump side, it seems like a lot of people that are against him, you know, people who don't like Trump. You have the people who don't like him from the first way he ran, just his opinions and perspectives the first time he ran, which is fair, you know. And I don't know the guy. I don't know. I haven't met him and whatever. And I wasn't old enough to see him like in the early 2000s and stuff. I go back and research or whatever, but it wasn't really, you know. I have my experience of what life was like when he was in, you know, and the life experience of the past 4 years. So, and I think one of the big arguments is for women being able to decide what to do with their bodies and not having a man tell them, which is 100% valid, and you know, and that's why it's tough because there's no like I thought that RFK should be the president, right? But people on the Democratic side didn't want RFK. You know, Democratic Party didn't want RFK. I thought that he was the best candidate. He aligned with Trump afterwards, which made me lean towards that side a little more. I didn't vote, but I was like, well, who did I want to see win? You know, I was leaning to that because he went to that side, and I thought that he should be president, and he went to that side. And I also like the idea of only 4 years versus 8, right? But but the main argument I feel like people is Trump is like, oh, he's an asshole, and they don't agree with the way he ran. They, you know, blah blah blah, the first time, and then also they don't agree with I think it was like Roe v. Wade, I think, if I'm not mistaken, which is understandable, and I 100% agree, and I can see why that fear might, some like women would be fearful of losing those rights or different things like that, right? And I'm not a woman, and so I'm not speaking on those, but from the outside looking in, I like 100%. Everyone should, everyone wants rights, and and there are some of these things are very super important. You know what I mean? So I agree, but that's also why I didn't go vote for Trump, because I don't also believe, in my honest opinion, they're all on the same team. You know what I mean? So that's my opinion. But if we're breaking down to they're not on the team, they're red versus blue, your vote matters. Okay. So let's just say that we're in that bubble, because it is a possibility. I don't think that that's reality, but it is a possibility. So if it is, okay. On the other side, so the thing that gets me worked up is that argument on Trump is that he's a bad guy, and that and women feel like they should be able to do what they want with their bodies, and I agree 100%. But on the other side, you have Kamala, who has been the vice president for 4 years. The past 4 years have been pretty trash, honestly, economy wise, foreign affairs wise, different things that happen. You know what I mean? She's been part of this. She's running on like fixing things that got messed up during their presidency. So it's like, in some ways, like, oh, I'm gonna break, like, I think I said last time, I cut your AC cord, and then I come and be like, oh, I can help you fix that AC that just broke, that. And then, but the tough part, the tough part for me, the thing that really gets me worked up is that it's unfortunate, because people feed into the hating Trump thing, which is not people have reasons to not like him. Agreed. Then on the other side, it's like, but because you really just don't like this person, you're gonna go vote for this other person. But she might on the surface not look as bad and blah 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 for different reasons, but in reality, this person uses a teleprompter every time she speaks. Literally has confirmed lied. Is not beneficial to the country, except he has some policies that people like, that people align with, but only a couple, right? And then, but a lot of them stuff is problems that they created. They want to fix them, but they created the problems. She talks out of a teleprompter. She's being told what to say, never her own thoughts, things like that. And it's like, this person is literally, whatever people are funding her, she'll have to answer to those people if she would have won. And it's like a very puppeted thing, and that's a balance, because it's tough, because in my opinion, like, I don't look at people for their gender or their race. I look at people for their, like, who they are as a soul, as a human being, right? But there's a demographic that's like they're gonna feel like this pain of being like, oh, they want, like, they don't want a woman to be president, and then a black woman, right? Stuff like that. And it's like, oh, like, for me, I'm like, obviously, any genuine human being who cares about humanity and, and cares about people, should be the president, and people who are born and they're leaders, different things, they should be given the opportunity and everyone should be given a fair chance. I think it should be more than just 2 people at the end. I think it should be 4 or 5, whatever, right? I said this before. But it's not. It comes down to these 2 people, and it's like, okay, so we're just gonna put this person who all they do is say that Trump's bad, but you never look at what they do, and she's just a puppet. And unfortunately, because she is black and a woman, people are gonna align with that, and they're gonna feel like they're not getting represented because a black woman can't be president. But it's like, why are we just taking any random one? Like, I can guarantee you there is doesn't matter, a woman, man, what race you are. If you're born in the United States, you can become president, and I guarantee you there's someone in this country right now who would be a great leader, who cares about people, and if given an opportunity, they would do right by people and try to and do their best to make this country in this world get to a place where we are in harmony and not separated and not, things like that. And it doesn't matter if they're white, black, Asian, Mexican. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're a girl or a guy or a girl or whatever. It doesn't matter. But just putting some other person, and the first time that he ran, what did they do? They had him versus Hillary Clinton. So they had and that's when they were pushing like the woman, they were pushing like trying to get women voters for her and blah 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 and things like that, and pushing that card. But it's like I agree. Like, I would 100% be okay with a woman being president, whatever, 100%. You know what I mean? But just because you pick anyone, or just because she checks the boxes, oh, we're gonna go with her. It's like, bro, you know what I mean? And that's where I get worked up, because people are gonna feel that they're gonna feel not represented. They're gonna feel sad. They're gonna feel like they're like the only reason they're gonna feel bad about it, and they're gonna feel these negative emotions because they picked this person and not from the start, like, whatever, they took Biden out, they're gonna go with Biden, and they whatever. In my opinion, if Trump is the almighty devil to people's eyes, that people believe that he is, the Democrats they spent the last 4 years trying to make him not be able to run again. And then instead of building up a candidate to beat him, because a lot of people, if you brought someone who was actually like someone who actually has their own thoughts, who doesn't need a teleprompter and to just get literally caught up in like random light. Like, I saw shit. Kamala Harris was like on the phone, like, I guess, like pretending like to like talk to like a voter, and then she like showed her phone, it was like the camera app. It's like, bruh, you know what I mean? And that's why I'm like, for me, I'm like, damn, like, it's tough because people, and that's why I thought I had my thoughts more aligned, but I really don't. I'm sure someone could chop this up and it'd be like raps or whatever, right? But in reality, like, in my true opinion, I didn't vote because, in my opinion, I said it, but if it does matter or whatever, if your vote does matter for real and things like that, and the country decided that Trump should be president this time and blah blah blah, in my opinion, it's because it's the Democrats' fault for who they brought to the table, and not because she's a woman or she's black or whatever. And of course she's gonna appeal to a certain demographic of people, you know what I mean? But it's like, why not bring an actual strong, thought out, like, very, like, because in my opinion, if you had someone who, if no matter what they look like or who they were, if you had somebody who was a genuine human being, and people weren't suspect about up until 2 months before the election, 3 months before the election. Like the entire, like people, like she was getting trashed the entire way through up until they said that she was gonna run, and then all of a sudden, there's more and more support, right? It's like if you brought an actual candidate to contend, I believe that they would have won. They would have won, but they didn't, and it's unfortunate that they just pick someone that checks the boxes. You know what I mean? When Biden was running, same thing. They just check the boxes versus like getting someone who actually deserves it, who deserves to be in there, who deserves to be the president, who is the right person to lead the country if you believe in all that, right? And so for me, I'm like, so how do I not get worked up? Because I'm not. I don't think like it's. I think the toughest part for me is that people who are like super like sad or like fearful because Trump won, except for I can understand the body, the women in their body. I can understand that 100%, and I'm not here to say that they're wrong or be on the other side of that argument, because I'm not. And but a lot of people who are fearing that like this is the end, World War III with Trump. It's like, to me, I'm like, no matter if we had 8 years of the past 4 years, we're already headed to World War III. How has the last 4 years not been bad? How have they not been? You know what I mean? How have they? It's been scary. It's been messed up for years before Trump. Before Trump was president, it's been messed up. The presidency is I haven't lived in a year where I'm like, I'm proud that they were our president. I'm proud that he was my leader or whatever, right? I literally haven't, So it's like, either way, we were put in a terrible position, 2016, 2020, 2024, In my opinion, if they brought if literally someone who you like, I don't know, someone who didn't just check the boxes, and whether they're a woman, no matter what race they were, like, I have no problem with that. And I don't, and it's tough because people are gonna resonate with that other side. People who really wanted Kamala to win and she lost, people are gonna resonate. People are gonna relate to her in different ways. People are gonna be like, oh, they just didn't want a woman president. They didn't want whatever. And it's like, in my opinion, it's like, I don't want a puppet. I don't want someone who's influenced by the pharmaceutical companies, and whoever pays her the most money, that's going to be who they what they make the laws for, and blah, blah, blah. And the past 4 years have been trash in certain ways. Obviously in my life, like, I've been building my life better or whatever, but, food costs are way up. Gas prices hasn't been under $3 up until really 2 weeks ago with the election. It's been $3 plus for 4 years, versus back in 2016, 2020, it was like $2 a gallon, So for me, I'm like, it's just tough because for me, the toughest part is watching people get, I can feel the energy that they're on, and I feel it's unfortunate to watch them get into that energy, because in my mind, no matter who won, the country is still in a fucked up place right now. Who knows where the president's even been for the past whatever. We're still in this place where there's still wars going on. There's still conflict. The gas is still $3. Fucking grocery store prices are crazy high. You know what I mean? So many things, and it's like, even if just because Trump won doesn't mean that the world is just because Trump won doesn't mean that the world is gonna get worse. It's like, even if Trump lost, the world, the earth, the U.S. is still getting worse. You know what I mean? Because Kamala isn't the answer, and I don't think that Trump is necessarily the answer either. But if you had to pick between the two, you know what I mean? I'd rather have the person who speaks for themselves, and and if we compare the 4 years, 2016 to 2020 versus 2020 to 2024, as far as like for me economically and stuff, 2016, 2020 were way better. And on the other side, it's like back in 2000, between 2016 2020, people like cared. People were like, everything Trump did, people were like criticizing this, criticizing that, this and that. People cared. People, oh, did you hear what happened here? Did you hear what this? Did you hear about that? Then all of a sudden, Biden comes in as Sleepy Joe, and no one gives a fuck anymore. No one cares about the shit that's going on. Yeah, there's a little thing about like we had the Gaza thing, and there's Ukraine, right? But then now it's just like money's just going there, and it's like they took out all the fucking troops from Afghanistan. They left all the equipment. Now there's like parades of with the tanks and shit like that. It's like very poor decisions. The life like money's going. Life isn't like great. The country, there's homelessness a shit ton. You know, there's still shit going on. You know, so it's like it's not like the world. It's not like all of a sudden we just went down like a dark path, because we've already been down the dark path. We're already there. We're already in the shit. 2001, 9/11. You know, what people thought about 9/11 20 years ago is different than now. I mean, some people are probably still the same on either side, but you know, 9/11. You have Obama. You learn about Snowden comes out. You learn about the United States spying on everyone. You learn about the drone strikes. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not like all of a sudden we went down this like dark path and the world's fucked. Like, the world has been fucked. The United States is still fucked. Hopefully, our day-to-day life gets better. And obviously, the scariest part is, the scariest thing for me is like government aid, like being like, the scariest thing for me, I would say, obviously the loss of rights is very scary, and like having authorities using deadly force is also a very scary thought, you know. And that's where I'm at, you know, as far as surrounding area. On the day-to-day life, like, it's just like, if you can get double the gas for the same price, like, you can go a lot farther, you know, different things like that. So just, it's definitely a tough it's a tough situation. For me, I think that they're all in cahoots together. It's all bullshit. I don't think your vote actually matters. It's sadder. It's a sad thought, and it's sad, you know, but, you know, after JFK, you know, so that's how I feel. But because I don't, like, there's people who are like, oh, you gotta vote, every vote counts, and they're like, oh, who'd you vote, like, who would, like, we can't, and then I'm like, oh, okay, like, oh yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to, and they're like, then their opinion was, we can't have Trump win, Kamala's got to be in, and I'm like, I don't really necessarily think that just because the idea of, just because of this, just because of uh the Trump is terrible, whatever, so we have to go with this other person. It's like, bro, this other person isn't good either. They're not good. They're a puppet. They're not real. You don't know who they are. You don't actually know them. You never had a conversation with them. They don't even tell you enough. At least with Trump, you know what you're getting. Like, I can see the business guy. I can see, you know, the little comedy things he does, whatever. I can see that he's not. I didn't vote for him. You know what I mean? But because, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure I would vote for Kamala either. Like, oh, well, I guess that, I was like, I guess, oh, you probably don't want me to vote then. And then whatever, it's like, oh yeah. So like, oh yeah, it's probably better if you don't vote, you know? And so if you didn't vote, if you don't say like, oh yeah, Kamala or whatever, then they just put you in the Trump box. And whatever they view about that, or whatever they view about people who wanted Trump to win, because in that conversation at the table, there's the Trump person who was very like happy that he won, and very like, they're like good, quick to say good shit about Trump, bad shit about Kamala, this and that. And I'm in the middle, like, getting dragged to the Trump side because I'm like, okay, I see what you're saying about the Trump thing, but just because that doesn't mean that this other person is great and is good and isn't, and you're you can't see that shit is just as bad with her in, you know? And that's where, and then because of that you get dragged into the Trump thing where you're on, now you're in the stigma of whatever they view, whatever box. And that's the thing Jason talked about before a lot too. It's just like avoiding being like, I'm trying to avoid being boxed in. Like if you bring up like a conspiracy, they're like, or whatever, you bring up like some idea, like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. If you get labeled a conspiracy theorist, whatever people view about whatever a person thinks about conspiracy theorists are, they're gonna put you in that box. If you say like Trump or Kamala, they're gonna put you in whatever box that they view that type of person. You know, oh, you must whatever. But in reality, it's like there should have been 5 fucking candidates. There should have been RFK should have had an equal chance. Trump should have had an equal chance. Kamala should have had an equal chance, and 2 others or whatever. So they should have had equal chance. They all should have debated. It should have been whatever. But no, what happens is it comes down to these 2 people. In reality, the Democratic Party didn't care enough. And in some ways, they're smart too because they put this person who's lost now, and now you got people who are not only upset because they think that the world's going to end with Trump being in, they're also upset because they don't think that a woman, they think that Kamala lost because she's a woman or because she's black or this, and that. And it's like, and now you're going to have those feelings just go and they carry it to their day to day. They're going to be, they feel sad. They feel unappreciated. They feel like the shit is against them and blah, blah, blah. In some ways that's good because you start looking at situations, but then also they're just putting you in this mindset where, you know, the argument goes, you got the Trump people who are like, yeah, Trump, oh, and then you got the people who are like, Trump's like, you're an idiot, Trump's evil, blah, blah, and then you just fucking bash and fight, everyone gets pissed off, and that's where I'm like, now I'm dragged into this energy, and I'm heated because I'm like, y'all looking at the wrong shit. This is all bullshit. This is all whatever. She's a puppet. He's a business dude with whatever he's got going on. I haven't met him. There's different things that you can whatever. But in reality, the last 4 years, they spent trying to make sure that he couldn't run versus getting someone who could beat him. And then 4 years ago, they suppressed information. They used the social media websites. They shadow banned people. They didn't allow certain things to be put out that could have influenced the decision. In reality, Trump could have won the last one, and then we would be done with Trump now, and it'd be a new 4 years. It would be a new 8 maybe for someone else. But we didn't. They went through this Joe Biden fucking shit. And it's like, and that's where, for me, I'm like, it's unfortunate because people are spending all this energy and their lives are getting influenced off bullshit. And that shit pisses me off, you know? Because we were talking about the earlier, doing the things that you want to do and blah, blah, blah. So now you're going to go to work, come home, do the shit that you have to do, the responsibility you have to whatever, and then you're going to have negative emotions and feelings throughout the whole day, this, and that. You're going to look at other people differently for what they say, you know? And boom, boom. And then now the time for you to do the shit that you actually want to do are things that you care about, or even less because of all the distractions and all the whatever. And it's like, it's unfortunate. There's always going to be more distractions, more shit. I saw a fucking dude get struck by lightning in Peru, a soccer player. And I was like, that is crazy. Like a fucking lightning strike. And then my first thought is like, what if they were able to like or they're able to like channel like the energy from the sky to be able to like kind of like get a lightning to strike certain places. That's where I was like, dude, that would be fucking crazy. Because then people wouldn't like, if a laser came out of the sky and blasted someone and there was like on live TV, everyone would be like, what the hell? But if a lightning strike happened, then they would be like, oh, he got struck by lightning. A fucking terrible, that's terrible, like, natural event, you know what I mean? It'd be a lot easier to, you know, kind of get away with certain things that way. But overall, I think I could see like we're one day in it, are like it's been before because no one knew who was gonna win, but now it's like I could go back and I'm like, oh, I remember these times where it was like this or like that. And at the end of the day, it's like, we still have a couple months of whatever's been going on. I don't know, who knows what's gonna happen. Obviously, people can die. People like this can happen. World War III could start, or has already started, or whatever. Fucking COVID happened at the last election, so you know. Overall, it's just unfortunate that uh, it's an unfortunate situation. I think that it should be down to more than just two people. I don't think that it should be red versus blue. Um, you know, and I think that you should be able to look at the tallies of the votes all the way up until the election, not just like right at the last day. But it's a tough thing. People are probably gonna look at me like, "Oh, you didn't vote, then you shouldn't have an opinion in certain ways," and that's tough. But it comes down, so it's the two perspectives of our ancestors died for us to be able to vote and have a say, and then there's the other side of the argument where your vote doesn't matter, so it's unfortunate because our ancestors died for nothing. And that's both possibilities are very much possible. And there's no real proof or good enough evidence in public eye for the public to get either one. There's gonna be a shit ton of people that says that believe that is real. You have your say, and blah blah blah. And there's gonna be a lot of people who think the opposite and think that both sides. The people that think that the government's here that wants your best interest, and the people that are like the government, you're just a number to them, And both are very possible. But it's like, if we really look at it, politics is influenced by money and donors and sponsors and whatever. And the biggest ones are the tech companies, pharmaceutical ads, blah blah blah. And it's like the tech companies shouldn't be able to influence the election. It should be everyone should have the equal opportunity to get their stuff said, get their things out there. If there's news that should be shared, everyone should see it and it shouldn't be hidden. And I'm like, and there's gonna be people who vote blue because I'm a Democrat. People who vote red because I'm a Republican. Doesn't matter who's in there. There's people who voted for Trump because they didn't like the last 4 years, and now they voted for Trump. People who voted for Kamala because they think that Trump is the all devil, and that's what it is. But it's like, in my opinion, the way I'm looking at it is like, at least Trump talks, and when he talks, people hear him, and then people have conversations start. All right, people aren't just letting the shit just go by, letting the fucking time go by, just sleeping with Sleepy Joe, don't give a fuck what's going on. There's that side. I kind of lost my train of thought there, so that's probably a little fuck up there because I'm not going to complete that thought. But it's all right. It's just people over very hot takes. The second half of this pod has been very hot takes in certain ways, But overall, it's a tough situation that we're in. But the thought is like, at least like for Trump, he, in my opinion, the way I look, like he does extravagant certain things and blah blah blah, but he says shit. He actually says shit. Whether you agree with it, whether you don't agree with it, whether it's good, whether it's bad, he's saying shit. While she literally didn't say anything. She just talked about the shit that she was gonna do. But every president has empty promises. Shit never changes. And a lot of stuff was part of this administration that caused it. And now we're gonna fix it. And then she's literally a puppet. It's like, okay, if we're going to say that Donald Trump is the devil, at least he's fucking telling you. At least he's showing you. Versus this other person where you think that, like, oh, they're good, but they're fucking doing a bunch of shady shit behind the doors, and you don't know. The nice neighbor who waves their hand, they got fucking kids in the basement. Versus, like, the asshole guy, the asshole neighbor, and you're like, he's that. Like, he's an asshole. whatever, you keep an eye on them. You know what I mean? Versus the person you don't keep an eye on and they're fucking doing some fucked up shit for years and years and years and years. You know, not that she did or whatever. I'm just saying, like, the metaphor of if you have a neighbor who you think is sketchy and who's an asshole or whatever, but all you think is an asshole, like, you're gonna keep an eye on them, you know, versus the person who oh, the nice calm neighbor doesn't say much, you know, waves, whatever. You don't even pay attention to them. But meanwhile, they got the fucking meth lab downstairs and shit, you know? And that's just how I feel, really. And it's tough because I can see in today's conversation at dinner, I realized, like, okay, I have to not get work. Don't allow myself to get into energy. Like, stay on the thing. Like, it's bullshit. Like, it's bullshit. The fucking system is built against us. They don't give a fuck about us. And it's about money and power and population control. And that's how I feel, you know? So that's just what it is. It's all coup. It's all show. It's all WWE. And they got fucking Emperor Palpatine's up there somewhere, but looking like a chancellor, you know? Things like the Sith are around, you know? The negative forces are around. And we just let the advertisements are getting consumed in social media, this, and that, you know, distract you and keep you sedated and not doing the things that you actually want to do, what you're here to do, you know, and you become stagnant, you become caught in the loop, caught in the cycle, and it's hard to break. And then, you know, next thing you know, time goes down and you can't fucking shoot hoops anymore because you didn't go to the gym and didn't stretch, you know. So overall, it's like, that's where I'm at with it. I can tell. I mean, I don't know, people who watch this, I'm sure I'll piss some people off when they hear it or whatever. But I definitely need a place to get off my chest because it's like in those conversations, I can't really get to what I want to say because you get thrown into the stigma of you didn't vote, you want like Trump or whatever. And then whatever they think about Trump or Trump supporters, that you just get thrown in that box. And like, I can't. And that shit fucking pisses me off, you know what I mean? Or gets me, that's where it gets me. So it's like, okay, how do I, whatever. And it's like, you know what? Let people make whatever comments they comment. Don't, whatever. And in the moments where I can say something that's universal and whatever, but not like super directive, because then people, like, I don't want to be caught in this back and forth. And at the same time, and I don't want to be thrown into a box or thrown into a category, you know, because then it's fucking impossible to get out. And it's impossible for people to listen to you because they just view you as a certain way or a certain thing. So in my mind, it's like, the way I really look at it is that if the Democrats really gave a fuck about you, they would have they would have spent the past 4 years actually building a true candidate, no matter who they are, what they look like. And I believe that they would have won no matter who they are, what they look, if they're actually a true good person, and they were truly, and they actually cared about humanity, and they came with good points, and they were able to speak and not get caught up in lies and blah 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 and this and that. I think they would have won. They would have beaten Trump. I think so. But because of how the passing of information has changed even in the past 4 years, things like that, you know, like people, you know, I think in certain ways people see more than they have ever seen before in certain ways in the past like 100 years, 200, because I think if we take it back a few hundred years back or whatever, I think people were more intelligent because they're more aware of how stars aligned, what that meant, you know, spiritually, things like that. Like, I feel like magic, stuff like that, being able to float, different things. Like, I definitely feel like dragons, like all that stuff was real in some way, like sometime in the Earth's life. And so I feel like people, you know, we've honestly got dumber in some ways because you just, instead of searching for information or finding within, you just take the information that gets fed to you, the ad that comes, you buy that thing that they, whatever, you go to that restaurant that comes in your feed or whatever, boom, boom, you see that ad and you go get it, Taco Bell or whatever. I'm victim too of seeing it, of that in certain ways. But it's like we allow ourselves to get to, as a whole, we allow this to happen via comfort, via whatever. Comfort, job, money, this, and that. And it's like, and so I think deep down, I think if the Democrats actually cared, they would have brought a true candidate, whether it was a woman or not, or what race they were, or whatever, that was built up, and they actually were like, this was going to be the next president, and not run on this false hope, this fucking unprepared thing. You know what I mean? Going say they're going to be Biden and then dropping him out after the first debate, throwing Kamala in there, blah, blah, blah. You saw, they knew what she was, polling at, how people liked her before, how much she was liked before, and, it wasn't good. And then now, all of a sudden, boom, now they put her in and whatever. And now you got Trump. Now Trump beat Hillary, and then Trump beat Kamala, and now there's, certain people are going to feel a type of way, and that sucks. In my opinion, that sucks that people are going to go through those emotions, because both were bad. Both things, just even though Trump is going to be president now, if Kamala was, I still have the view that the fucking world's going to end. I think it's fucked, and it's even more fucked because you don't even know what's happening, because it's all show. They're lying to you. She's not, you can't trust what she's saying. You don't even know she doesn't even know what she's saying. She's just reading the words, So overall, it's I think that if we're talking about the election, it should be more than two people, 3, 4. It should be 3, 4, 5, whatever. I think that RFK should have been the president. I didn't vote. I view Kamala as a puppet and Trump as a business guy who tells you whatever, and I didn't vote for either of them because I don't believe that both of them are the true leaders of the country, or should be. But I do believe that in this certain case, that Trump was the better option based off the last 8 years of looking at it. And I do hope that for the women who are fearful of the rights for their body and stuff, I hope that goes into the direction that it should, and I hope that part doesn't get fucked up or whatever way. You know what I mean? I hope that the police can't just kill people and fucking for nothing. That's scary. So those are the two things. And other than that, I hope gas goes down to $2 again. I hope fucking groceries become more affordable. I hope people start hanging out again and fucking loving each other and whatever. The past 4 years we've distanced because of COVID, and maybe with Trump being a president, people will start caring again and giving a shit about stuff versus just instead of letting the same continuous cycle of shit get thrown on us, and they use the same stuff over and over again, and the shit doesn't really change, and we're just stuck with another disease, another problem, another negative environment versus an environment of peace, positivity, love, progression, hope, things like that. So that's just kind of where I stand. If I offended anyone, I'm sorry. I just had to get these out. Hopefully there's not too many more political shit. Hopefully now the ads are over and all that stuff. But I just had to get this out because I definitely got into that energy earlier of getting angry or whatever, argumentative or whatever, only because I felt like I was getting put into a box, and because in my mind, people don't, it's tough to watch people go through these emotions, and it's tough to watch. It's tough to see people, upset and falling for the show. and then not following their dreams. So, but I hope that this was informational in some way. I'm gonna put it out for tomorrow, Thursday. It'll be out on time on Thursday, and we'll catch up on the other 5 that we missed. We'll keep going. We're gonna get back into the studio here soon. The vacation's over. I'm feeling good. I'm definitely happy that the fucking ads are gonna be over. Hopefully the United States of America grows into a better path, and hopefully our kids aren't doomed. But for now, I'm Ryan. This is Ocean Waves, product of Oceans on Arrival. Hopefully you guys check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you get your music. We're there. We got a bunch of podcasts up. Hopefully you catch us next week too. I thank you very much for watching. I love y'all. Hopefully you're not too beat. If you want a Kama to win, hopefully you're not like jumping off a ledge. If you want a Trump to win, hopefully you're not being a fucking asshole about it, And if you see behind the scenes, then I applaud you, because it's a tough world for those of you who do and can't talk about it. So because you don't want to get boxed in or people don't understand. But other than that, I'm Ryan. This is Ocean Waves. We'll be back with some other shit to talk about. I'm sure some other crazy stuff will happen. There's been some stuff in the news, but had to get this off my chest. So appreciate you. That's my opinion. Love.